So welcome from Western Region Catholic Foundation for Education. This is our first live session, and we hope to do more sessions. We are very happy to welcome Archbishop Elias Gonsalves, the Archbishop of Nagpur, also Amravati Diocese, and uh, and we welcome you, Archbishop.
Thank you. Thank you,
We
all of
would
you.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
we would like you to share your thoughts, Bishop.
yeah. Dear Francis and his team, and all my dear teachers, I would like to welcome you for this first session for online teaching and training. I'm very glad that all of us are on board today for the first time to hear this beautiful session that which is going to be conducted. I appreciate all the teachers who are taking this pains and trouble to be there online and learn something more of new way of being a school. New way of being a school means to communicate online with its difficulties and challenges. May this challenging time turn into the time of opportunities to learn more about online school. I wish you all the best during this time, and all the teachers stay home, stay safe, and do your best to communicate with your children, communicate with the parents in order that we build the bridges to keep education going, online education to our children. Thank you and God bless you. All the best, Francis, for this
Thank
program
you.
and
Thank
this
you.
vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. I would you like to share maybe two lines about the digital education project which we are doing at the Western region for them to just
Sure.
get an idea?
Sure. This is a Western Region Catholic Foundation for Education, which has taken the initiative. We are in these three states, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Goa. All these three states comprise of Western Region, which is organized by Bishops' Council of Western Region. And therefore, this program, which we are doing online, in order that we are able to reach out to around 500 and more schools and make the education possible when our schools are closed. Now we are going to give this education at the doorsteps of our people, and therefore your initiatives, your contribution is very, very important, and I am sure you all will do your best, learn something more, upgrade your skills, and upgrade your teaching skills during this period of online teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop, and thank you for your time. And we look forward for your continuous mentoring and guidance for the show. We are starting for the first time today, the first show, and we are starting about how do we remotely teach pre-primary and primary children via online. Definitely, we know that face-to-face teaching of schools is the best option. There is no two ways to deny about it. But online learning is a way where we can at least keep our mission of ensuring that learning never stops. So I think that's the whole purpose. And we have our resource person Tasneem, who's with us today, and she's been an international educator, and also she's really spent a lot of time in pre-primary and primary education. We're very fortunate that she accepted to conduct the first live show, and thank you, Tasneem, and over to you. We give the classroom to the teacher. Thank you.
All the
Thank you.
best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Francis, for your kind words. It's an honor and, in fact, a pleasure to be here facilitating all the teachers and whoever has logged in. My name is Tasneem Dohadwala, and I just love teaching. It's my passion. I love being in the classroom. with the children, because I think the warmth, the energy, they exhibit, it just makes me do more for them, making it a student centered class for them, also going that extra edge for them, giving them the opportunities to be curious, to inquire and become lifelong learners. That's very, very important. So I just love being in the classroom, and I love learning with my children. So that's very important, because to teach is to learn twice. So I just truly believe in that and go by that, and I hope all the teachers do the same, and I'm sure everybody is doing the same. So let's begin. I wouldn't take much of your time on that, with more of my introduction. But yes, I just enjoy teaching. So that's why I'm here again, facilitating each one of you. And I just hope the session is fruitful. And I'll be happy to answer questions at the end of my presentation. So I'm going to start with my screen share. I will be showing a presentation all throughout. And after that, we will take questions as and when, if we have the time as well. But I'll be happy to address them. So here we go. There would be a lag at times, but yeah, please bear with me on that. Okay. So teachers, we all have to understand that we've been suddenly thrown into this whole pool of online learning, far end of the pool, without any appropriate gadgets or anything, to help us sail smooth. But I think we did well. We did very, very well. And we managed to keep our children also afloat with us, right? I'm sure we all did. So now it's up to us how we want to take it further. Okay, let's make mindful use of these online classes. And today the whole agenda is that only, that how we want to teach and what are we supposed to teach. So there are certain things I'm going to share with you all, and we'll take one thing at a time. But the whole idea is how to teach and what to teach. Those are the two main broad aspects that we are going to cover. So before I begin, I think all of you deserve a pat on your back and an applaud for being so dedicated and jumping into this whole pool and swimming through and sailing through. So come on, teachers, a pat on your back and a big applaud for all of you. Let's begin positively, because we're being great. I'm sure about that. And we're going to make it better, even better, because online learning is here to stay for a while. So there's no running away from it, right? But let's make it more mindful. Yeah. So a big round of applause for all of you and all the very best. So the agenda for today. Yeah. So the agenda for today is planning for teachers. Okay. How are we going to make parents our equal partners? How are we supposed to help our parents? Because it's equally important for them to be at ease, understanding what is the way forward, acknowledging teachers, preps to plan. So what are you supposed to prepare to plan for online classes? And lastly, I'm going to share examples, concrete examples for early years and for primary. All right. So let's move on. Teachers, when you plan your classes, okay, please keep in mind this acronym that I've created called DEMP. Okay, so this is going to help you remember. D stands for digital readiness. Okay, you have to be firstly ready with the digital devices that you have, selecting the right online platform you want to use. The best would be Google right now. Google Meets is very, very good and it's handy, of course. So be ready with digital readiness. Emotional quotient. Teachers, we're all going through anxiety. We all go through various moods in our heads. It's absolutely fine. But when you are planning, you need to make sure you are mentally stable. Okay, you're fine at that point in time. It's a happy environment, a very positive environment. Your planning will be excellent, and I promise you that. Look for the materials available that you have. By that, what I mean is, what are the online resources you are going to look at? All right, so that's very, very important, because you may not have everything at your disposal. That's fine. But online, everything is available. Even if you need a story, they're available online. Okay, so prepare for your materials. And lastly, be prepared. Okay, when you take your class, you have to be prepared. You have to revise for it. It is important because you should know exactly the order, the way to move ahead with your class. So that preparedness is very, very important. You should be prepared that, yes, I want to take an online class. Of course, you have to understand that, but be prepared for that. So DEMP is something you should remember, okay, when you prepare for your classes. So keep this in mind, teachers. Next, we move on to something which is always, an area of concern, that is screen time. One thing I would just like to say is there are mixed reviews, but if you ask me personally, there is no harm, okay, as long as it is monitored. It is well beyond a particular limit and a boundary set. Now, it is up to every school to decide what is the best amount of time that a child needs to spend. If you had to ask me, I would say for early years, it should not exceed beyond 45 minutes, because there would not be more, I mean, the children would get distracted after that, for them to retain and sit for that period of time otherwise would be difficult. So do not go beyond 45 minutes in my personal opinion. And if it's for primary, you could take 1.5 hours, 1.5 to max 2 hours. Please do not go beyond that, because again, there would be distractions, they would not be able to retain anything. I would also suggest in between, after every half an hour, 45 minutes, do give them a break. Okay, let them move around. You can do some, give them some ideas about brain gym. Okay, that really works. Like, when you make the lazy eight, it's very, very easy. Just follow your thumb and make the number 8. Do brain gym, do some finger aerobics with them. Okay, so get them off the screen, share these ideas with the parents in advance and make them do it. Tell them, okay, it's now time for a few seconds to do these kind of activities, so they again are focused when they come back in the next few minutes to join your next session. All right, so this is my take on screen time, because yes, there are a lot of concerns as to, earlier should not be exposed to screen time. How are they going to cope? It's not good for their age appropriate development. But I think everything in limitation a little bit is not bad, because we want to continue even the teaching and learning process, right? We cannot, early years is their base, it's their foundation, so we cannot omit that, we cannot ignore that. All right, because that time gone is difficult to come back. All right, and because online learning is going to stay for a while, and especially when earlier start school, it is going to be a while, so we can't waste that time. That's why make it simple. Take a consensus together and then offer the amount of time you would want your child to spend in your particular school. So that's my take on screen time. Next, we move on to parents. Teachers, it's very important that your parents partner you, because if your parents don't support you, it is not going to be fruitful and effective. So as you see the image that I put over here, it is a circular thing, or it is even triangular if you see, where the child is an active learner. But if the parents are not supportive, it's not going to work. The teacher is more a facilitator and the parent is partnering the whole teaching and learning process. So parents have to be, kept in the loop. Most importantly, they have to be trained, okay, and explained the way forward. Okay, maintain transparency. It is important because the parents need to be understanding what is going to happen over the next few months with their child when it comes to online teaching. They are anxious. They need to understand curriculum. They need to understand how you're going to move ahead with your curriculum, how it's going to happen. How is my child sitting, going to sit in front of a screen and learn? So all that has to be explained. Please maintain transparency and get your parents on board with you. Okay, that is really going to work wonders. So what are we going to do to get our parents on board? Simple. Start with a Google Meet. Okay, get your parents together, class-wise maybe. Take smaller groups which you can cater to and deal with. That's very, very important. And the whole purpose of the Google Meet will be an informal chat with your parents. Share your plans. Share what the teaching methodologies would be. Share what you are going to do as teachers. All right, it's very, very important. Like you would do a basic orientation, but this is going to be a little more specific. It's going to be different because it's online, but yes, they need to be a part of the whole process, the teaching process and the learning process. They need to be placed in a comfort zone. Parents are anxious as much as we teachers are, right? They're anxious about the syllabus completion, etc. So you need to comfort them, telling them we are going to teach what a child needs to learn at that age group. So do not worry. It's going to happen. How it will happen, share some ideas so that they are at ease. You don't have to share everything, but a basic. It's important that, you tell them that now your focus is going to be on blended learning. It's not about syllabus completion at all times. It's also about outcomes. Now we'll have to redesign. We have to reinvent, we have to rethink. Okay, looking at what is it that a child should be able to achieve and accomplish at the end of this particular grade, whether it's nursery, whether it's grade 1, whether it's grade 5. So we need to make specific outcomes subject-wise, and then that's what you will share with your parents, that at the end of, grade, suppose it's senior KG or nursery, students should be able to read, okay, 3-letter words if it's senior KG, stuff like that. They should be able to, understand, basic mathematical concepts. You have to create certain outcomes which you can share with your parents, and then you blend in your syllabus and learning together. Create a schedule. Teachers, we need to create a schedule which is shared with the parents. What is going to happen? A weekly schedule would be ideal. I'll share an example at the end of how you can create a weekly schedule and what we have also created. So a schedule gives like a clear road to a parent that, okay, on Monday, my child is going to be learning this and this. it's important to also send them what is required by the child to be prepared with. Like suppose you're going to teach math and you need basic materials, for your child to be sitting on in the class. You need to tell them that. So with the schedule, the materials also need to go. You need to give a list of expectations. Okay, if you see my point number 4, where what kind of environment we want the child to be seated in. It's better the child is seated, comfortably on a chair with a proper table, desk, no distractions around, enough light. How you would have your classroom set up as an environment, same thing, where there's minimal distractions, where comfortable attire. I'm getting into nitty-gritties because this is essential for early years. Okay, because if they're not wearing the right clothes, also they're fidgety at times. Okay, they're not comfortable sitting, so their attire, their environment has to be very, very comfortable to ensure that the 45 or 30 to 45 minutes that you're sitting with them, they are paying attention. Okay, initially it is difficult, but it can happen, so do not worry about that. So that's why environment, stationery, all that has to be told to the parents. Keep them informed every time. So once parents are at ease, half your battle is won. Teaching does become very, very effective because they are also keeping things ready for you. Okay, this is very important for me. I think the teachers need the acknowledgement, they need the appreciation. Teachers need to be applauded for the hard work they are putting in. This is something over and above that they're required to do, that they're doing, right? They have not prepared for this, nobody's training them for this, but they are making those efforts to ensure that teaching is continuing. So please make sure, if you're a head of schools, trustees, etc., acknowledge your teachers. It's very, very important. Secondly, listen to them. We need our teachers to be heard. I'm sure we all do that, but now it's a little more that we need to do, because they may be facing challenges at home. There could be personal challenges that they are facing. They need to be understood, because if they are not, again, mentally stable, they're not ready, they're not prepared, the output will not be there. They will not be able to deliver an effective classroom, effective content when you're taking an online class. So please, I urge all the head of schools to look at the teacher's emotional quotient as well. It's very, very important. Okay, they need to feel heard, most importantly, appreciated and motivated. So, and then also, I would suggest that every week, do take a meeting with all the teachers on your preferred platform. Like I would suggest Google Meet, and take feedback, how the classes are going, the challenges that they're facing. It's the first 2 weeks will be very, very crucial, because you will face challenges, technology, so many things are going to come in, the video may not work, so many things may happen. So that feedback is important, so that your following week, your following classes become much more smoother for execution. So teaching is a work of the heart. Okay, that is why just appreciating all the teachers out there right now. A big applaud to all of you for putting in so much of hard work and commitment. You guys are working for home and from home. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving on. We'll move on to some examples of online teaching. I will share for pre-primary and primary. So when you start with online teaching, focus on FAD. Okay, this is like another acronym. I mean, I love making acronyms to remember, and when I teach also. So that is why when I'm facilitating, all you wonderful teachers, I have kept some acronyms for you for easy, memory and remembrance. So let's start with focus. Okay, you need to ensure that whatever you plan keeps the focus of your child. How will you help your students remain focused? Keep that in mind when you plan. Attention. You will find, children moving here, there, face moving there, they're not focusing, they're not paying attention. So how will you capture students' attention? Ask yourself that question. How will you avoid distractions? Again, the kind of environment they're sitting in. Okay, so look at all of that, teachers. Please keep in mind these 3 important aspects. If this is considered and always looked into when you are planning your class, trust me, it will be smooth. And I have tried and tested this. It takes a while, but it does happen. Okay. So moving on, the 6 C's. This is my favorite, okay? And this is a tip for all the teachers and teachers out there. When you plan, okay, keep these things in mind. These 6 C's. Chat with your children. It's important, all right? Because they need to connect with you. Okay, you need to obviously, maintain that. If you were in school, right, you would have those morning chats with them when they come in, because you definitely would be there 5 to 10 minutes prior to the class, if you were a homeroom teacher. So chat with your children. 5-7 minutes of your online class, just have casual conversations. It just puts the child at ease, makes the child feel connected to you. Have fun with them. Okay, chance. Okay, it is important that you give each child a chance to speak, an opportunity to express. Now, this will happen only if you have small groups. So I would urge all you teachers to look at your class sizes and create small groups. You may have to repeat your instruction maybe 4 times, 5 times, keeping in mind the groups you're creating. But that's important, because if you're going to cater to a group of 30 to 40 online together, not all children can speak at that point in time. It's not going to be possible. So please make sure that you have given students a chance to speak, getting together with them when you've created smaller groups. It makes them feel heard. It makes them active learners in your process, and your outputs will be fantastic. Connect. Very, very important, especially for early years. The child has to connect with you, right? Because if they don't connect with you, you don't connect with them, there will be a sort of a barrier. Your content will not reach across the other side. And that's what I mean is the child's mind, if you don't connect with them. So that is why that chat and connect go hand in hand. Talk to them, make them feel comfortable, do like a morning song with them, you do circle time with them, talk to them. It's important. If your daily routine is to start your school song and school prayer, do that so they feel the connect with school as well. Next, change. Get your environment changed regularly. By that, what do I mean? If it was a normal school scenario, sometimes you would sit on the floor and teach them. Sometimes if you have a garden, outside like a small playground, I would move to the playground and read them a story. You change your environment, right? Same thing you'll have to do here also. Change their environment. Today, say, okay, today's class, we'll all sit on the floor and learn together. Why don't you bring a pillow and sit with you? Just hug your pillow and sit together. So change their environment. Also change your groups. If you've created groups with your children, change the groups on a weekly basis. So in that way, the children will meet their friends, okay, the other friends who are there in their class. So get that change going in the environment, okay, and the grouping strategies with them. Content. Teachers, this is very, very important. You got to select the right content to teach online. We have to understand that not everything can be taught online. There are limitations, there are restrictions. So we need to use the best that we can to teach online. So the content you select is very important. So when we move ahead, I'll explain to you what kind of content to use. But remember the content selection. What topics will you take, which are easy to teach online, for which you can do a recap, you can do an assessment, you can have a proper closure. Again, what I mean by content is that if you have only 30 to 35 minutes, whatever you select, you should be able to end it. So that's my next point also. I'll continue that. So the 6th point is closure. So when you're taking a class, okay, now suppose I'm teaching nouns today to them, or suppose I am teaching just numeracy to them. I start the class, I introduce the topic, I recap the topic, and I have to end it. All right, that's very, very important, because your class cannot end abruptly. It has to end correctly, so that you have gauged that, okay, my kids have understood, and what is the next that I need to do the next day? What is the way forward the next day? Because if you're going to carry that content forward the next day, the child will be lost. There could be problems. Okay, so please look into that. The closure of your class is very, very, very crucial and important. Let's move on. Okay, so we will move on to the next. Okay, so how are you supposed to plan? Okay, what are you supposed to prepare to plan? First important thing, make small groups. Okay, I've already said this earlier, but I'm going to repeat this again, because these are your preps for planning. Make very, very small groups if you can. Maybe 5 to 6 would be good, depending on your class size, because in that many more times you'll have to repeat your instruction. But honestly, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it rather than sitting, taking all of them together. So make small groups where you can reach out to the children. Also, they can easily speak to you. So keep that in mind. The reason why you're making groups is that they are active listeners and participants, right? Because you can't have 30 children speaking to you on an online platform. It'll be crazy. So if you have smaller groups, it is a two-way, learning that is taking place, because they can hear you, you can hear them, and it's going to be effective. Okay, so it'll also give them that personal connect, teacher. So please make small groups if possible. I would really urge you to do that. Second, when you're planning, finalize and set your class duration. As I said earlier, also 40 minutes to 45 minutes maximum for pre-primary, and 1.5 hour max 2 hours for primary that could be looked into. Next, include one of the arts. Okay, try as much as possible that you don't not only doing academic stuff, you're balancing with some holistic development also with them, where your extracurriculars, co-curriculars come in. So there is a little bit of fun element also, and you can do a lot of stuff online with art, music, dance, drama. I will show you some examples later. But when you are making your schedules, so suppose you're doing like 20 minutes of language, then give like 15 minutes of art. It'll be fun for them, and it's just also relaxing for them also. Okay, my personal opinion, avoid too many videos to be showcased, because there could be connectivity issues at your end or for the child also. And if your whole lesson is focused on that video, then it's going to be of no use. It will be very, very ineffective, because if your video doesn't play, then you would have to, I mean, and at that time you'll be boggled as to now what do I do. So I would suggest keep videos to a minimum, but if it's essential, obviously do it, and do a test run also. Okay, so that you know that yes, it's paid, it's audible, it's not lagging, etc. Because internet could be fluctuating at so many times, and you're just hoping that it doesn't happen at the time of your class, right? So just make sure that you keep all these things in mind with connectivity and technology at that point in time. Okay, and then what I would suggest is that you can then share it with your parents on WhatsApp if you have a group, or you can email it to them so that they can reinforce it. Right? So even if your video didn't play, maybe then you can send it to the parents. You can explain everything in the class and then share it with the parents. That's very important, because then they can at least revise and reinforce whatever you've taught at that particular point. Moving on. So how do you start a class? Okay, let's go to that. When starting a class, you must start with a meet and greet. Okay, what I generally do is, if my class starts, suppose at 11 o'clock, I ask my children to log in, say by 10:45, 10:50, 10 minutes earlier, so that I can chat with them. I do a little meet and greet, like how was your previous day, what did they do, getting them together and bonding with them. Okay, they bond with their friends, they get to see them, so they say that hi's and everything, and they did talk to one another, and automatically just blend in your academic work then. It becomes very, very easy. So start with a meet and greet. That's very, very important. Second very important thing, essential agreements. Now, this is very important. Why? Because they need to know how, what is required for the class, right? It's very, very important. So your mics must be muted. You need to raise a silent hand if you want to speak, because when you are speaking, if the mics of the other children are off, there will be more clarity. So these are agreements. Generally, we have essential agreements in the class. Okay, when we create them, like we will all agree to raise a silent hand, respect our peers, etc., etc. But for online learning also, it is important that you all agree to a certain rules that you would want to create. I mean, I don't call them rules, but that's why I call them agreements, so that your teaching and learning is effective. All right. And then trust me, if you just do it regularly, every day, remind them of the essential agreements. Your nursery babies will also be provided. They know exactly what to do. They know how to mute themselves. They'll know how to do everything. They are super smart. Okay, let's not underestimate our children. But it's important that we follow it on a regular basis. It has to be a routine. You just can't do it one day and say, no, now I'm not going to do it anymore, right? So we need to do that. Okay, next, before you start the class, you need to remind the student that today we are having a math class, or today we're having a language class. So I hope you have all these things ready. If not, have them get that material in place and then start the class. So just wait for those few seconds. It'll be worth it, rather than them running about at that point in time when you are giving your instructions to teach or etc. So that's why it's very important you remind the students of what is expected to be kept ready for the class. Next, start with the school song, school prayer. Let them feel connected, that it's a normal school day like it would be otherwise. Okay, so just start with that. It just helps the students at that point in time. If you're teaching a language concept, teachers, okay, always start with a bit of a recap of something that is learned previously. Don't just suddenly start a topic. So let them feel that, yeah, I know it, because it's important that a child feels, yes, I know my stuff. They shouldn't feel that, oh, I will not know anything. How will I answer my teacher, etc. They need to be positive about the class. So start with something that they already know. Okay, recap, have a little fun with them, and then start your class of that particular concept that you want to teach. Repetition is a must. Okay, at that point in time. Why? Because they need to understand what has happened previously, remember. Okay, so that's why I take very, very simple topics. So I'll give you an example. Like if you're teaching vowels, okay, so you're starting with a long vowel sound, okay, long vowel sound, short vowel sounds. First, give them concrete examples, okay, what it would be. If you have pictures, nothing like it, show them the pictures. And then, you can probably make two houses, the long vowel sound house and the short vowel sound house. Show it to them and tell them, okay, if this word, if I say apple, which house would it get into? Okay, if I say ant, which house will it get into? Okay, so that's how you make them play the games with you. I'll come to more concrete examples, but I'm just giving you examples of what you also need to keep ready. Next, repeat again, ask students to repeat. Once you have taught something, it is important you revise that. Okay, in that particular class itself, you've explained it thoroughly, you've introduced it, you've explained it. Next, have the students share what they have understood. Make sure you ask every child. That's why I'm going to harp about small groups. That's why you can ask every child what they have understood, what they haven't. Ask every child, motivate them to answer. Okay, so that's very, very important, so that you know what you need to do for the next class. Do you need to revise a little more? You need to send some more revision work for that particular child at home, etc. Okay, so that's why the child has to be actively involved. You will do a bit of the talking and then the children will do, so that you are at the same page, that yes, whatever I had planned, my students have understood. Quick assessment is a must. Okay, so you can play a game with them, you can quickly ask them to answer something, you can make them write something. If they are older children, like primary children can write, so make them do that. But before you wind up your class, make sure you've assessed how much the students have understood, so that that will help you in planning your next class. Okay, so we'll move with some examples of, we'll move examples subject wise. Okay, so for math, if you want to teach a math concept, okay, so manipulatives are very, very handy, and I love using manipulatives in class. Okay, I love using storybooks to teach a math concept, even a song sometimes to teach a math concept. So for maths, a lot of screen shares will have to take place. Okay, so you need to share your screen, like keep a PPT ready or keep some images ready, and then share your screen and show it to the children, because math cannot just be taught whilst just speaking, right? The children need to see what is happening. Okay, and if you do a story, it just works wonders, because a lot of concepts can be introduced and also reinforced. I'll share one example right away with you, okay, which is really fun and I love this. Okay, so suppose I'm introducing the topic of subtraction to my children. Okay, and I love this particular one. So it's called Six Little Speckled Frogs. You all must be knowing this, but you go and you sing with them. 6 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 5 speckled frogs. Glug, glug, glug. 5 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 4 speckled frogs. Glug, glug, glug. So continue in the same manner till you come to no frog sitting on the log. Okay, so now post the rhyme. Students have to explain how the frogs kept becoming less and less as they jumped into the pool one by one. Have a conversation with them. Okay, then you will introduce the concept of how something becomes less is what you call subtraction. When something is taken away or becomes less, that is called subtraction. As a follow-up activity, you can ask students to keep some spoons in their hands, and then you ask them, you can individually ask them, now show me 6 spoons. Now show me, now take away 3 spoons. I don't want to see the 3 spoons. I only want to see the remaining 3 in your right hand. So you're going to show them things like this, which is going to be handy. So now if you're going to do something like this as a follow-up activity, beforehand, you need to tell them to keep those, spoons ready with them, and ask them to keep things which are easily available at home. Please keep that in mind, because we don't want parents running about and say, oh, I don't have this. So anything for that matter, 5 hankies, 5 spoons, easily available, so that it becomes interactive for them also. Another thing I would want to share with you is this little story, how to reinforce a particular concept. We sang a song, okay, like a rhyme, to introduce a concept. Now you can even reinforce a concept through a story. And this is my personal favorite. So, and there are many more available, but here it goes. Sorry, the story, there could be some connectivity issues. Sorry, just bear with me on the connectivity. I'll just be on now.
We can see Cheek the cat.
Okay.
We can see Cheek the cat.
All right.
are important. But if you want to write essays that inspire, sing the song. We can't hear. Sing the song.
So it goes, my buttons, my four groovy buttons. Oh no! Pop! One of the buttons popped out. But did he cry? Goodness, no. So 4 minus 1, 3. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept singing his song. My buttons, my three groovy buttons. My buttons, my three groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. So 3 minus 1 equals 2. He kept singing his favorite song. My buttons, my two groovy buttons. My buttons, my two groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. Now how many buttons are left? 2 minus 1, 1. But did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. But he kept singing his favorite song. My buttons, come on, my one groovy button. My buttons, my one groovy button. So teachers, you can have a lot of fun like this. You can have your class stand in front of the screen and sing with you. I mean, it's good because they'll have a little bit of movement also. So this is the entire story till his last button pops up. Sorry. And then he looks at his button, which is his belly button, and he's really, really happy. Okay. So to reinforce subtraction, you can take this story and it's beautiful. The kids love it. Even grades 1 and 2 love it. So that's a fun way of doing mathematics through stories and a little bit of movement also. So math, music, movement will be a whole lot of fun, and I promise you that. Sorry about the lag in between. Okay, my screen froze, so I was not sure where it was heading. Okay, so that was one story which you teach, and this story you can also teach them a lot about positivity, that you can be positive at all times. Let's be happy with the surroundings, and right now, because we're locked down, this is the best example to take, that you can be happy with whatever you have. And Pete the cat was happy with even that belly button of his, right? Now what you can do, you want to change. Now you want to use the same story for language. Okay, after doing math, you can enhance language skills by asking them to change the end of the story. Okay, that's a whole lot of fun. Ask students to think, if you had to change the end, what would it be? It's amazing that the ideas that they come up with. I know one child told me, you know what, I think Pete would be really sad right now. So, miss, can we have a fairy come in with a magic wand and put back all the buttons? He'll be happy again. So beautiful. See how language could be gelled beautifully into this mathematical lesson also. So you can continue language and a math and a language concept at the same time on that same particular day, right? So I hope that helped. Okay, so moving on. We'll see a little bit of language now. Okay, language, again, I love teaching language through stories. It's really, really amazing to enhance listening skills, because see, language is not about just grammar. It's also, I divide it into strands called listening, speaking, reading, writing. So your communication skills, your observation skills, all of these are equally important. And right now with online learning, This is very, very important. Let's look at enhancing our communication skills, our observation skills, our listening skills. So there's a little twist over here. Instead of taking up an actual story, I've taken a wordless story. So let's look at this wordless story called Tuesday by David Wiesner. It's really a whole lot of fun. Let's have a look at this story. I'll just pull it up and play just 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, we can skip the introduction a bit because we may run out of time. Okay, so this is one of the best sellers, and it's an amazing story which you can use with any age group for that matter. It doesn't only have to cater to older kids, even pre-primary children. In fact, they love it the most. I've tried it with my 6-year-old, and he has loved it, and he now only wants to read wordless stories because this is helping in building in creativity, imagination, communication skills. These are the 3 aspects that can be focused upon in this story. Okay, so let's move on with this story. Okay, can we skip this introduction? I'm just trying to do that till the book opens. Yeah, so that's Tuesday by David Wiesner. So let's see what we have. That Mark shows is one of the best sellers actually. So it's doing beautiful and very well. I mean, the kids are loving it, and it's very easily available on YouTube. So please, you can also find it on YouTube. You don't need to go and buy it. So let's begin. Okay, it's Tuesday evening around 8. What do we see? Okay, now you can ask your students one by one. Where is the setting taking place? What do you feel? How do you feel about this whole setting that is taking place? What is that creature like over there? Okay, oops, I can see frogs and they are flying. Why is that? What are they doing? And they're flying on lily pads. So now this little turtle is really surprised and is absolutely confused. Why are these frogs flying? So you see how you can just add your little bit, enhance observation. So the child will be looking at every page correctly. Oh my God, one frog is upside down. Why are they flying like this, I wonder? Where are they going? Where are they headed to? And so many frogs, you can actually make the children count. So see, language and mathematics go hand in hand. It's how you want to take it forward. I see a skyline there. I see birds sitting. It's night time. See, the setting is at night. All right, I see all these frogs flying across some homes. Where are they going, I wonder? Okay, let's find out. It's 11:21 p.m. This man looks really surprised. And why is that? Check out his expression. I think he's having his midnight snack. At 11:21, he's having his midnight snack for sure. Some sandwich, some milk. And what does he see outside the window? The frogs flying. Goodness gracious. Oops, they've tumbled all his laundry. Oh my God. And they are all jumbled up, entangled. Some are asking for help, I believe. What say, kids? Are they asking for some help? The frogs, they're flying. Where are they flying? Oh my God, look at this frog. He's made like a parachute for himself. This is amazing what they are doing. Now, where are they going? Okay, this frog, these 3 frogs or 2 of them, they found a window to enter. And whose house is it? Let's see. There's an old lady. What is she doing? I think she's watching television because I see a television in front of me. And if you zoom in and see, this one smart frog is changing the channels with his tongue. There is a remote in his hand. If you see here, there is a remote and he's changing the channels with his tongue. All right, it's 4:38 a.m. So you can teach the time also, a.m., p.m. Now, where are these frogs headed to? I am so scared. Where are they going? Okay, I have no idea, but they are in for some trouble. The frog is going to chase a dog. What is this frog talking to the dog? I wonder. Let's think of some dialogues between this dog and this frog. So you can have some dialogue, some conversation. Drama can come in at this point in time as well. Okay. Now all the frogs are chasing the dog. The dog is extremely scared. Can you see his tongue out? He is super, super scared. He is running for his life. Run as fast as you can. Come on, let's run, Mr. Dog, run. Okay, now where are they? What do you see? They're on a tree. Wow. And what are they going to do next? Who is in trouble? What do we see up there? One frog is asking for help. This little frog is going to fly across a field. He's taking a plunge into the pool. I think it's feeling really, really hot. Must be. I think so. See, there's nothing right and wrong, teachers. It's your imagination and creativity. All right. So let it flow with one another. Let it flow with your children. Oh, now what do we have? Who is this man standing here? Is he a cop? I can see police somewhere. Do you see this old man? He was the same man having his midnight snack. That same dog who the frogs were chasing. He is an investigating officer. So you can teach about community helpers at this point in time. Now he's picked up a leaf to understand. There are some news reporters. Next Tuesday at 7:58 p.m. What is happening? I see a shadow. And whose shadow is it? I see something. Oh my God, goodness gracious. Pigs are flying today. Oh Lord, what is in store now? And you end the story. But of course, you can go on and on and on, and they can have a whole lot of fun. Bring in puppets, bring in characters. If you don't have any of this, just your voice, and let the children do that. They will love it. That's why, once again, I'm harping, small groups will work because it's easier for them to create the story. So you can do, child-wise, you can have them create the story. So you start. It all goes very well. They'll love it. And I promise you that. I just hope you enjoy listening to it. Another thing that you can do with the same story, teachers, okay, you can do sequencing. Okay, so what do you think happened before the frogs took flight? What do you think happened after the old woman woke up? What do you think happened? What funny thing happened when the frogs moved forward through the clothesline? Why do you think they went backward? They didn't go backward at that point instead. Okay, so that's something fun, and I'm sure it could be gelled in beautifully with any age group. So you need to decide who you want to use it for. Okay, so moving on. I just hope this helped. Okay, there are lots of stories like this available. You just have to go online, and there are loads of them available. But this is my favorite because it adds a little bit of spookiness and a lot of stuff in that. A lot of characters in the story. You can teach a lot about animals in the story. It's totally your call in what concept you're looking at. Next, another example that you can do, you can play bingo. Housey, we love that. Okay, and it's very easy to play online. Okay, but you'll have to prep for this. So it's a 3-letter word bingo. So suppose you're teaching in pre-primary. Okay, so the 3-letter words like pin, pig, bin, depends on which words you've introduced. Okay, so you make tickets and you send it via email or WhatsApp to your parents and tell them to have it ready at that point in time. Then what you do is you put it on your screen. Okay, you put up the word on your screen. So the child has to read it and then circle the word on their ticket. So you're enforcing reading and writing skills, or reading skills basically, and observing skills at that point in time. So the child is looking at the word and trying to find it on their tickets. And it's a whole lot of fun. Okay, but you'll have to create the bingo cards at that point in time. Okay, and then you can also present the images through a PowerPoint and help them recognize, read the words on their cards and circle the words that they have. Okay, so that also works beautifully. The bingo tickets, I can share this with you through my via email. So that would be also handy for you. I can share some examples with you all via email. So for primary, if you have to introduce a particular topic, this is one of my favorites, to introduce prepositions. Okay, so you can play this very famous game of Simon Says. Okay, so you can start simply, and this is to introduce the topic. Okay, you're trying to even gauge. Teachers, we need to remember that we always, before we start something, need to understand how much our children know. So that's called gauging prior knowledge of our students, because sometimes some kids do know certain things, and if you don't know what they already know, your lesson, they may get distracted. Okay, your lesson may not go as planned because there could be distraction. The child will be like, okay, I know it and I don't want to pay attention at that point in time, and that could lead to concerns that you may have. So that is why play some games to first understand how much the child knows. Okay, so this is a very popular game that I play with my children. That Simon Says. So come on. So Simon says, place your hand on your head. Simon says, place your hand under your chin. Simon says, place a pencil inside your book. Simon says, place a pen next to your book or beside your book. Okay, so you play something like this first with them. Then you have a discussion. What are the words that we used? We use words like, if there is a whiteboard option as well in a Google Meet. Okay, so you can write these words down. So what are the words that we use today? We use words like under. Okay, we use words like on. We use words like next to or beside. So what are all these words? What do they tell you about that particular object? They tell you the place of that object, right? They tell you where that object lies. Okay, so that is how you can introduce a particular concept with a simple game like this, and then you explain the actual term of prepositions. So this is just a fun way of starting, and this could be played online very easily. So that's why I'm sharing examples which you can, play online. Next, if you are to teach a science topic, okay, science sometimes is restricted. Can get restricted to teach because sometimes and I totally believe that science has to be hands-on. It's not always just reading the book. Okay, so suppose you're teaching plants to your students, and you want to teach them about photosynthesis. I love this particular song, which I always share, and it's really, really a whole lot of fun because this came, to me through my son's school as well, and he loves it. So, and he's understood the process of photosynthesis beautifully. So I'm going to sing the song for you because I don't know whether the sound was audible at that particular time earlier. So I'm just going to sing the song for you, and it's a whole lot of fun. Okay, so here it goes. If you want to know how a plant grows, it takes water, air, and sunlight and makes cellulose. Every plant can do this fundamental process, and we can call this photosynthesis. Unlike me and you, plants need CO2, and they make oxygen with substance turning blue. Every plant can do this fundamental process, and we can call this photosynthesis. It's a miracle of all the chlorophyll captures sunlight in the leaf of the plants and the trees. Every plant can do this fundamental process, and we shall call this photosynthesis. Because sometimes topics like these, which you will have to teach eventually, can get difficult. So a song like this, put up keywords then from the song, show a demonstration. Okay, you can bring out a leaf and show it to them. Okay, and then go slowly and gradually. It will take a while, but it will happen. And then to remember the process, you can show them this song because it's really very, very peppy and they will remember. And then I love Dr. Binox, which has amazing YouTube links on, amazing videos on YouTube. And it's very child friendly. So if you just Google Dr. Binox photosynthesis or Dr. Binox, whichever topic you are looking at, he has some amazing stuff. So do Google that and check it out. It's really, really nice to introduce science concepts. So moving on. Art. This is one of my favorites and I love it. So how will you introduce art? Now you may wonder that, oh my God, in 15, 20 minutes, how am I supposed to teach my children? It's easy. It's not difficult at all. You need to just prepare yourself that yes, it can happen. Be positive. It will all happen. So I'm taking a theme of superheroes. Start with something which is fun. Don't go into something which is very, very difficult. Start with something which is fun, which is relatable to all children. Every child loves superheroes. Okay, so you read any one superhero story to them first. Again, art with stories is amazing. The children love it. And in stories, you can find everything. Like I said, we found language in that, math in that, science in that. You will find art also. Okay, so take up a superhero story. Okay, and then do the following activities with them. So now I'm going to explain how with one story you can do blended learning, transdisciplinary learning. Okay, so in art, if you had to do, you create a superhero automobile on paper. There's nothing difficult, or using Play-Doh. Okay, language, if you have to do, okay, you can write a small paragraph, a short paragraph, if I were a superhero, or you change the end of the story that you've just heard with your teacher. Okay, so that's language. We did art. You create a superhero automobile. Or you can also create an outfit for your superhero. All you have to do is sketch it. So just in using creativity, imagination, and very simple materials. You don't need anything else. If you don't even have Play-Doh, it's absolutely fine. You can just sketch it for, your children can just sketch it. And you can show them some images, some ideas to share. Math. You can create the you can create a superhero using cubes. If they have, if I think most of the children have cubes at home, the Lego blocks, and then they create their superhero. Again, tell them it's not about the look of the superhero. It doesn't have to look like a superhero. It's fine. It's their creativity. But the idea is you build the tallest superhero, okay, using cubes. Okay, and then you measure it. So your concept of measurement can actually come in. Okay, I'll just share an example right now. So see, here we've created some superheroes. They all don't look like superheroes. It's fine. But then we created the tallest. We had to create the tallest one. Okay, and then we had children measure it. So you can take a string to measure it. You can take a measure tape. You can take a ruler. You can measure it, and then you can have your child share, all right, who's created the tallest superhero. And this can be all done, trust me, in 15-20 minutes. You don't need more time than that. Okay. Again, for language, if you had to summarize all about superheroes, you can create a summary like this. So once you've heard about the story, okay, you heard about the story about a superhero, or what all you know about superheroes, okay, summarize your learning about superheroes. Okay, so you can have superheroes can do this, superheroes have this particular power or tools or capes, etc. And what are superheroes? Okay, superheroes are nice, they're helpful. So some adjectives. So you can teach them even adjectives through this. Next, when we move on, like I said, you create a costume for your superhero. Okay, your costume again could be just sketched on paper, and if Play-Doh is available, have that. And then what you can do, I love this part, you can have a superhero day. Okay, it's easy. You don't have to worry. Parents will be supportive. You need to do a meet with the parents and explain the whole purpose. It's not about how your child will look at that particular time. It's not about elaborate costumes. It's about the creativity to create costumes with whatever materials you have. Simple stuff. How will you make a cape from a dupatta? How will you make a cape from a scarf that you have, a t-shirt that you have? Whatever materials are available, design it. That's the whole idea, to enhance creativity. The process is very, very important. And then we're looking at communication skills. So they will come up and explain their favorite superhero, why they like this particular superhero, what are the powers that the superhero has. So you see, you're enhancing oral communication skills. It's not always about writing, teachers. We also have to be able to speak in front of an audience confidently, right? So that is why that is very, very important. So a culmination works beautifully, and you won't believe the children will do it on their own. Okay, maybe nursery, junior will need help, but if you tell senior KG onwards, they can do it beautifully on their own. They don't even need assistance. They will come up with the best ideas you can't even think of. Again, what you need to appreciate is the thought that has gone behind. Make sure you appreciate that, teachers, because that will motivate your children to do better next time, or to make sure they participate in such activities next time. Because it's not about how they're looking at that particular time. It's about what they said, how creative they were at that point in time. So you tell them in the beginning only that I'm not going to look at elaborate costumes. I'm going to look at your creativity and imagination. So you don't have any costumes, you can just put a little makeup on yourself and create your superhero. It's absolutely fine. We'll just look at your face at that particular time. It's absolutely to do with make do whatever you have. All right. So these are some examples of how you can create superheroes using Play-Doh. And you see, again, there is no, it's simple stuff. If they had Play-Doh at home, they can create it like this. But if you don't have even basic atta, they can take a little bit at home. I wouldn't actually recommend to use food products, but if they really want to do something like that, they can make it out of that also. A little leftover atta after making chapatis, you can always tell your parents to give them some, and you won't believe how they can come up with creative stuff. They can add a button for their eyes and so many things that they can do. So color is not the problem. It's just about their layout. That's what's important, because layout and organization in art is equally important. That's what you're going to teach them. So music, let's move on. What are we going to do with music? Okay, music is fun, it's therapeutic, our kids love it. Okay, music and movement go hand in hand. So when you're taking a music class, let's make sure we get our students to rise, move a little bit, do some actions. Like imagine me also sitting, I need to move a little bit. So we all stand up, we do that, and that's doable. Okay, you can stand up in front of your screen and do little actions. Okay, so sing songs which relate to the child, which are fun to start off with, and they will love it. So another example I'm going to share of how music can be extended to different disciplines. Okay, so suppose I take the Cinderella song. Okay, the Cinderella work song. It's very, very famous. Again, you can Google it. Cinderella, Cinderella, all I hear is Cinderella. From the moment that I wake up, the shades of nights are falling. There isn't any let up. I hear them calling, calling. I go up into the attic. I go down into the cellar. I can do them both together, Cinderella. Sing it once for them. Okay. Have the children sing it with you again. These are songs which are very, very famous. They love it. You can even start, and then you can also read the Cinderella story to them. But now my idea is After the music class, you sang the song with them, make it fun, read a story of Cinderella if you have to. But now what I'm trying to tell you is the links that you can make with one story and one song. So let's start with the links, okay? So now use the storyline to have a problem solving session, okay, with the kids. And math is all about problem solving, so you can connect math to it. So here is the problem. If Cinderella realized that the clock was striking midnight on the third chime, how many more chimes would she hear before her ball gown changed back to rags? Okay, start making them think. So it has to ring till, the chime has to ring till 12. So she heard it on the third. How many more? Okay, so you're teaching them subtraction, you're teaching them all of that. Another alternative, if Cinder's coach was pulled by 6 horses, how many legs would be galloping to the palace? So if they're older kids, like primary, when you're teaching them multiplication, you can include this. Okay, so that's a story and you're including that. Literacy, when you want to do some language fun with them, of course you've heard the stories that was language only because you're listening to the story. But if you want to make it more concrete, okay, so you write an invitation correctly addressed, including all necessary information. So you letter writing, that's what we're trying to make. Okay, so that could be included as part of the literacy bit. Speaking and listening, this is very, very important, teachers, and sometimes we miss out on this aspect because we're so focused on writing and reading. Speaking and listening are equally important. So what do? The drama bit comes in here. Okay, so have a dialogue. Imagine fairy godmothers there. So what would be the dialogue between Cinderella and fairy godmother? Change that. Okay, so you can do something like that, so that really works well. And the children can come up with such beautiful answers with this and beautiful thought processes. And even senior KG for that matter, even junior KG for that matter, children can come up with various ideas. You don't have to restrict it. Let's not underestimate them. But of course, you know best your classroom. So it's up to you as to which age group you want to give it to. But give them prompts and then have a dramatic dialogue between the two. And you'll be laughing at the end of the day because it's so much fun. Okay, so we have to have a light-hearted conversation also with our students. It has to be fun apart from just being stressed sitting in front of the screen, right? ICT, if you want to do, of course, primary would need a little bit of ICT skills also. So create an invitation in Word, okay, or on Paint, add a border, include some clip arts, do stuff like that. Okay, so that would be interesting ICT learning online, okay, with the same story. You're seeing how I'm linking that to all subject disciplines as of now. And this doesn't have to happen one day. It could happen over an entire week. And then you can again culminate it with all dressing up as Cinderella or a prince, etc. Okay, so just make it fun. Okay, art and design. Look at some famous artists, if you're looking at art specifically to teach. So look at some famous artists, how they portray castles, palaces. Okay, so that's something which you can look at and show them and teach them a work of art, a famous artist. It's important for children to even know the artist. We always teach them basic stuff, but there are artists who have a particular style of creating artwork, right? There are artists who love using trees, okay, a broccoli, and they make trees out of that. So broccoli is that, so that's really interesting to see every artist's unique way of presenting their style. So introduce artists to the children at this point in time. Design, this is my favorite. So imagine if you had to design a cushion to display the glass slipper. Okay, give this task to your child. It doesn't have to be at that point in time to have happened. This could be like a homework task for them after you've read the story, okay, as part of design and technology. And it's very, very simple. Just take newspapers together. Give them ideas first to brainstorm. Give them newspapers and to stuff it in because you may not have materials to put in. So design that cushion. Okay, and how will you design a cushion? You need to get them to think. And then you cover it with a dupatta or you take a scarf and place it on top of that cushion. And most important part, when your child is ready with the product, have him or her explain what they have used. Okay, so you're doing sequencing with them again. I did this first, I did this second, I did this third. Okay, this is what my final product looks like. Describe that product. It's soft. If they've used some fabrics, it's soft, it's smooth, it's rough, it's patterned, it's embroidered. So you're teaching them adjectives also. So you see how you can blend in a lot of stuff through just one story. Okay, and just make it fun for the children. That's with one story that you could do and very easily doable online. History. Okay, research about horse-drawn coaches, from different periods of history. Which one resembles the shape of the pumpkin? You can ask them to do something like that as a task to do at home. Okay, or you can also research and keep this and show it to the children. There's no harm. So you can connect. It doesn't have to be historic, every time history about our kings and queens, etc. But this history, our knowing, it's also important. So you can also download and keep stuff ready. Science, this is also very interesting, find out about other vegetables that belong to the pumpkin family. We've never wondered about these kind of things. Okay, so science is not about only the fixed content that we have in a textbook. You can go beyond, and this is what you need to explain to your parents also, that through one thing we will do so many more things. They will go beyond, over and above that one textbook. Okay, there's a lot of things happening around. We need to understand all of it. So that should be communicated. Your style has to be communicated to your parents very importantly. So keep all these things in mind. So you see one story, how every discipline, every subject could actually be got into this. Okay. Next. Before I move on to the parent information, I would also like to share with dance. Okay, we may wonder that, oh, how will we dance online? Of course you can. One of my favorites is this video called Popsicle. Okay, if you just Google that, I couldn't include it in the slide because somehow it was not working that time. But if you just Google that Popsicle, it is really a whole lot of fun, and children can watch it with you. You can screen share it, you can watch it and do the steps with your child together. One thing you need to remember is you will have to role model. You can't say that, okay, students, you all dance, I'm going to watch. The moment they are watched, they feel in a cocoon. Let's not do that. Dance with them, make them feel that it's so much more fun, because movement is equally important. Let's get that going, and let's have some fun also online. It's not only about completing content. So Popsicle is one suggestion that I really have, and I'll share some more via email with you all, which sites to look at for some amazing dance videos for children, age appropriate. Okay, we need to use that also, and also use songs which they are already aware of, because if they don't know the song, movement will not happen. Again, motivate, appreciate, let them to start moving. However they are moving, it's fine, because they're anyway just worried that somebody is watching now. Okay, like we are watching online, how is it going to look, who else is watching me besides my teacher and my friends? It happens, and they're just a little nervous. So just motivate them that, yeah, you're moving fine, it's absolutely fine. I am no great dancer, we're all going to do it together, we're going to have a lot of fun. Tell them the purpose is to enjoy. It is not to perform somewhere. The purpose of this class today is to enjoy and have a lot of fun. So how are we going to have fun? We're going to just dance and move and sway together. That's what you need to do, and it'll be amazing. You will never know, one of the child who doesn't dance at all will start moving with you. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to share some videos with you all, which are of my son. Okay, and how we've been doing learning at home, because teachers, we need to understand that, as I said earlier, parents have to play an equal role. You are going to be with the students only for 1 hour, 2 hours max, right? Online teaching. After that, parents are supposed to be there facilitating children. Okay, and how are they going to do that? So they're all going to be lost, because this is something which they've never done otherwise. See, they do help the children, but they're not doing so much of it as much as is required right now, right? Because they have more time with them now. Okay, we are only going to school for 2 hours. Earlier they used to go to school for 6 to 7 hours. So now, what is it that you can tell your parents to do at home, which are really, really simple things to do? How will you reinforce concepts with simple available material? There's nothing difficult. It's going to be very, very simple. So I'm going to share 1 or 2 examples with y'all, which y'all can share, as well with your parents. So I'm just going to play a video, and that should help. So welcome to the literacy hour. We're going to play a fun game. Okay, it's going to have 3 rounds. The first round is really simple. I have put up some words over there. What you need to do is aim at a word that I will call out. Okay, I will call out a sound. Okay, and you need to aim at that word having that sound, starting with that sound. So your first sound is ch. Which word are you shooting at? All right. Load your bullet again. All right. Your next sound is sh. What is the word you're aiming at? Okay. Yeah, aim now. All right. Well done. And your last sound is th. What? Okay. Great. So welcome to the literacy hour. Can you play the next video? Yeah. So Aran, that was very well played, round 1. Now, you can choose any word that you like, aim at that word, and then make a sentence out of that. So, which is the first word you're going to aim at? Okay. Nice. Now, can you make a sentence, please?
She is my best friend.
Very nice. Next word. Which is the word you're aiming at?
Shoot.
Lovely. Now, what
I
is...
shoot with my gun.
Very nice. So, Aran, that was... Aran, round 2 was good. Now, we're going to do round 3.
Yes.
So, what we're going to do is, I will call out a word, and you have to shoot at its rhyming word.
Yes.
So, my word is chill. So, which is the rhyming word? First, tell me. Good job. Now, the word is... Okay. Loading? Okay. Now, the word is... What are you doing? Practicing?
I need to aim at thrill.
Okay.
Because I was on thick.
Okay, sorry. It's okay. Leave it here. Ha, that's fine. Three. Okay. Now the word is dash. What is the rhyming word? First, tell me that.
Rash.
Okay. Good job. Okay, can we stop the video? Okay. So teachers, you can see just I have not done anything. It was just simple cutouts which I placed on the wall. Whichever wall you find, you can tell your parents. So whatever you have taught, share that with them and tell them that you can play games like this. And my child is a kinesthetic learner, so he needs to move around and learn. So that's what I did. I play a lot of games like that where movement is involved, and he doesn't even realize he's playing a game. He just plays it because he's enjoying it, and he loves. And he had recently got that new gun, so that's why he was very keen on playing this game with the gun shooting at that. So if you don't have a gun, you can take a ball and just aim at that. The idea is to make it creative for the child. Okay, so I did rhyming words with them. I did a sentence with them, with him, and also digraphs, sounds, recognition. You can do so much. Okay, and any age group. So if it's pre-primary, you can look at simple words. You can look at just letters, recognition of letters. Okay, letters and picture word association. You can look at that also. Sentences for older kids. So that made it a lot of fun. I would like to show you one more video where we're looking at some math skills. If you could have the second video, yeah. Okay, I think there is no sound and it's lagging.
And
Okay.
the number of the day is 20. So using the dart game, you are going to create the number 20. You have 3 chances. Now you think which numbers will you aim at, so you will get a total of 20. Which is your first number? Look at which number are you aiming at?
18.
Okay, try. Okay, so you've aimed at 12. Now how many more numbers do you need?
14, 15, 16, 17, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
So 12 plus 8, yes. So now you have to aim at what number to make 20?
8.
Okay. Did it go? Oh, come on, you have one more chance. Come on. 12 plus 5 is?
What? 17.
Yes, very good. 12 plus 5 is 17.
23.
12, very good. Okay, come on. So now you aim at 3, huh, Ran? Oh, just missed. All right.
Okay, and so we'll just pause here. So again, if you don't have the dart, it's absolutely fine, but you can tell the parents to, create something or just sit down and play this game together where you say, okay, today's number of the day is, and you particular number is selected, and then you play the game. So again, what I was also looking at as teachers is focus, attention, how he has to pay attention to select the number that he's go to select the number correctly so that he makes a total of 20. So you can build in so many things like that. So it's totally in your creativity. So these are some examples that you could share with your parents, because these are all easily available. I mean, you don't have to create anything. So that's one thing. And I'll just show you the last video. Can we have the last video? I'll just show you one where again I'm doing language with very simple stuff. And that was more of reinforcement again. My favorite game of hopscotch, which we used, okay, to revise certain concepts.
Hey everyone, so today we are going back to the old game that most of us have grown up playing, hopscotch. What we've done is, since we've had online teaching learning now for 6 weeks, it's also important that as parents, how do we revisit and revise content that the school is teaching him. So these are some of the things. So we've made small chits. So these are things that he's been learning in school. So we've designed this hopscotch game as a way to reinforce the content that the school has already been teaching him. Around here is your die. So you need to throw the die, and wherever it lands, then you need to pick up that chit and then say, "Oh, that's too. Go get it." You use whatever materials we had at home to create this. So if you see, you must have seen this in some of our earlier videos. That's Aran's racing track. So we've used this. We are also becoming multitaskers and using the same things for multiple things. Come on, Aran, throw it slowly. Okay, so that's gone. Come here. So we will take this chit, Aran. So please pick it up. No, pick up the chit, Aran. And now read out what the chit is.
Brown.
Aran, what is first before giving the answer? Can you read out?
One word with brown.
Very good.
One word with chair. One word with plum.
Please pick up that chit. This one. Explain.
Okay, so we can stop that video. All right. So you saw, teachers, it's very, very simple. You can play even math through hopscotch. Okay, I mean, you can play hopscotch and teach math. Okay, you can do it for language. And what we had done is we didn't have, we didn't create it with tape or color or something. We had tracks, and it was my son's idea only. Let's make it with tracks. We made it with tracks. And then whatever he was learning in school, we sort of thought of all of that and then just put chits over there where he had to read out. So again, he was enhancing reading. So he had to read, interpret, understand, and then answer. So that's what you do. This could work for any age group. All that you need is a parent to assist at that point in time and just be very, very creative, and they will enjoy it. And he didn't realize he's learning or studying. For him, it was a game. So that's what he very, very well did. So I just hope this has helped you in some way or the other to make your online teaching effective. Do not forget the 6 C's. Do not forget PAD, and do not forget DEMP, okay, when you plan. If you want, I will share that slide with you so that that always is on your mind when you are planning. But I just hope this has been fruitful for you, and I'm happy to take any questions if you may have. But thank you for being a wonderful audience, and I just hope I was able to help you in some way or the other. And I would love to see what you all are doing then online. Please do share your feedback with us. It would be lovely to see what you all are implementing. Okay. So I had already shared tips to start a class. So before starting a class, as a teacher, you need to be ready mentally, okay, digitally. Okay, first, those preps are very, very important. So I'll go back to that. So those preps are very, very important. Digitally, you should be prepared. You should know your platform very, very well. That's very important. Okay, you should know your strengths and weaknesses of online teaching on your platform. So that's very, very important. When you start a class, preparedness from your end, materials that you require. So all the stuff, if you're showing a YouTube link, if you're showing some pictures, make a folder, keep it ready date-wise. Okay, so this is for Monday, 18th May. This is for Tuesday, 19th May. All that has to be very categorically put, because you can't just be talking. You'll have to show pictures, especially if it's earlier. They learn a lot through seeing things, So it's just not about you talking. You'll have to show them pictures, flashcards, PowerPoint presentations where you'll have to share your screen. So all that preparedness has to be there. Do demos as much as possible. Trust me, it works. Just sit in front of your screen and talk to your screen, because it's important. And so you see how you are going. Time yourself. Very, very important, because you have to finish your class in 40 minutes. You can't go overboard. So obviously, time yourself. That's very, very important. Keep all the materials that you need. By materials, I mean the YouTube links. If you have to show a story or a book you have to read, or any materials that you require, keep it all handy in one particular folder. That would really, really help. So I hope that answers your question. Sure, assessments that you could do, but there are lots. Ideally for children, I wouldn't really tell you to do too much of formal work initially. Go slow. Okay, so you could start with game assessment. So I love this one particular game. You take a ball, okay, and whatever topic you have taught that particular day, okay, you put strips on that. Like suppose you have taught them say adjectives, okay, you put some questions on that ball. So this is called the question ball strategy, and then you just imitate as if you're throwing that ball at one child. And I do that online as well. So I'm saying, okay, the ball goes to Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer takes the ball in her hand, and then I'll tell her, okay, Jennifer, this is the question posed to you. So you read a question out to her, and then she answers. So keep it more informal rather than formal, because what is the whole point of assessment, teachers? It is one, for you to understand whether your children have learned something, and second, for you to prepare your next class or your next topic. Okay, so make it a little more fun. Of course, in primary, you'll have to do written work. Okay, so you give them tasks, okay, to prepare. Okay, and they'll have to solve it in front of you, because if it's an assessment and you really want to gauge whether the child has learned, it has to be in front of you. So if it's pen and paper, you tell them, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to put up a picture composition and I want you to use adjectives to describe this picture. Okay, so that's something that you can do for adjectives. I'm just giving an example. So that's what works, because you put up a picture, or sometimes you can say that, okay, you've lost your school bag, and you have to write like an advertisement for your school board, telling everybody that you've lost your bag. So make sure you describe your bag properly, how it looks, the size, the color, all of that, and write an advertisement for me to put up on your flannel board. Okay, and then your child has to do it in front of you at that point in time. So what are you doing? You're just assessing, right? So it doesn't have to be like, okay, this is a sentence and underline the adjective. That's boring. Okay, so you can make it fun like this, and it's again in front of you. I just hope that helps as well. For pre-primary kids, for each topic, we make a PPT, then it is fine. Yes, of course, you can make a PPT. In fact, they would love it. Get animation involved in your PPT. They would love it, because there are a lot of visual learners. You have to understand that. You have to know the learning style of your students, So that's why I said there are kinesthetic learners, there are visual learners, okay? So PPT works beautifully. That's why today I also, decided to share a screen with you, or share my PPT, because if I'm only going to talk, and you cannot see anything, would not make sense. You would want to see actual stuff, right? So that's why I looked at it as y'all are visual learners for me, and kinesthetic learners, because I was also moving. Y'all were also moving with me, hopefully, when I was singing the song. So yeah, that should help. Yep. Yes, use of whiteboard for teaching is good. Like mathematical concepts, language, when you want to do letters and stuff like that, is absolutely a fair idea. You must use it, because that is very, very essential. Like I have seen teachers not use a blackboard and they just talk. How is a child going to retain that information? When you use a whiteboard, please make sure you've written, suppose it's like a math concept or a history concept, whatever concept you're looking at, or a history topic that you are looking at, you've written something, talk about it, erase it, then go to the next. Otherwise, a child will be lost. Where am I supposed to look? Please understand that. Keep that in mind always. When using a whiteboard, there are certain do's and don'ts. Okay, because I see teachers, firstly, they use only one color. And I think it is important you use different colors to segregate and divide your content A. Draw lines, okay, to divide and segregate your content B. Once a particular thing has been taught, you've revised, reinforced, erase it. Don't jumble up everything. Sequencing, layout of your blackboard or whiteboard is very, very important, especially when they're younger children. Otherwise, they are lost. I would be lost where to look. Okay, it's my teacher talking about this or this. So please keep that in mind. But yes, use a whiteboard, essential, very good idea. Okay, how do we do one lesson with a class of 55 students? Yes, that is a difficult task. I totally agree to that. That's why I had suggested if you could break up your students. It is important, because otherwise your children will be very, very passive learners. And I'm not too sure how much of retention, how much of learning will really take place. My personal suggestion, please, if you can divide your class at least with 25, 30, a little more students could be talking to you, because otherwise you will never be able to communicate as much as possible that's required. Because if you are going to cater to 55 at one go, firstly, the mics have to be muted. Okay, all of them have to be muted. Okay, some children will fidget with their mics. Okay, sound will not be clear. There could be fluctuations, there could be problems in that. So but if you have to with 55, you'll have to take things which is just more a one-way thing, where you are just going to be talking. Stop, reinforce, stop, reinforce, go back to the topic, come back. A lot of visuals is what you will have to use, because that will make it more effective, because you can't expect a child to be talking, and which from the 55, who will you choose to talk, answer at that point in time, because then other children feel bad that, oh, miss didn't take my name, I was not asked. So you have to keep those things in mind also. So if you're taking a class of 55, I would suggest then you are just going to be the chalk talk teacher. You're just going to be talking. But when you're talking, go slow, voice modulation, use a blackboard if you have. Okay, so you're drawing something, share your screens for some time, so that's there. Take a break if you have to. Okay, a 5-minute break is good, so that they come back to then present moment, and then again start. But I would advise you not to ask any child questions, because some child may get upset that, oh, I was not asked. Okay, and then you may just get the child a little demotivated. But if you feel it's okay to ask, that's totally your call. But my personal opinion, then I wouldn't ask anybody. Okay, that's how I would look at it. But it's totally your wish at that point in time. Okay, how to stop children talking to their parents and siblings? You mean during an online class? That's why I had said in my first slide also, you need to share the requirements. When you share your timetable, I'm going to show you my timetable. I forgot to show you that, sorry, that reminded me. So when you share your timetable, when your schedule, okay, with your parents, a note should go with that regarding the environment that you need for your child. There should be nobody around except one adult who will just help with the technology and with helping the child sign in. Okay, because they will need help initially, and sometimes the Wi-Fi may go off, so they may not know how to log in. So that one parent has to be there, one adult. I wouldn't even want a sibling. I would prefer an adult. Of course, if that's not possible, then the sibling is fine. And then you tell them there should be no distractions. I have made it very clear. I've told them no phone should be there. Nobody should be talking over the phone. I made it very, very clear. So that's why when you do that meet with your parents, give them these instructions. They will not feel bad at that point in time, because ultimately you're doing it for your child's benefit, right? You don't want any distractions for your child. Any which ways, it's difficult to focus online for so much time. And then you have somebody else talking in the background, not going to work. So if somebody is sitting online, there should be nobody else in that room except for that one adult who is just assisting with technology. Of course, you can give written assignments. Like I just gave you an example. So what you can do is, like, suppose you can take a dictation. Okay, you can do spellings online. There is nothing that you can't do online. Of course, you can do written work. So that's why I said that you'll have to choose what you want to do. So like, for example, you read out a story to them and you tell them, now summarize the story for me. Okay, it's just 5 minutes. You have to just write 10 lines of what you understood in the story. They write it for you at that particular time. Suppose you're doing mathematics. So you show them, you've taught them a particular concept. You've taught them, suppose, multiplication, division. And then and then you tell them, okay, I'm putting up 4 sums on the board. You need to solve it in the next 10 minutes. So that's why I said pick topics which can be done. And of course, you can do multiplication. You can do all these topics, but then you have to time it. You have to make sure of your time. That's why I said practice before you start your class, so that you've done it on time. Also, remember that if you are doing something where written work has to happen, this has to go in your schedule. You need to tell the parent that, okay, I'm going to be doing mathematics on Tuesday, and these are the materials required to be kept ready. A paper, a pencil, a ruler, whatever that you need. If you know that, that's why you need to plan very well. You know you're going to do some written work, tell them to have the paper. Otherwise, they'll be running around, Mama, I want this, Dad, I want that, and you'll have to get them back. So that's very important. Okay, so sometimes it's not like take a class or video mode. It should not from the student to get decide the body language. Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. So that's absolutely fine. So you just show them the video and animations. That's absolutely fine. I totally understand that. And yes, it's valid, because when you are talking and you don't want your child to get distracted with that, and you just want to show them the video, just play your screen. That's all. Screen share it. It's absolutely fine. That's valid. Very good. That's not a problem at all. But what you need to do is, when you're playing the video, don't just play the whole video. Very important. I think this is for everybody. Before playing a video or reading a story, tell them what is expected. So there is something like before reading, whilst reading, and after reading. So your child knows what to pay attention. So before reading, say, okay, when I'm showing you your cover page, what do you... Okay, sorry, that's my little one. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, so before reading, Tell them, okay, I'm showing you a cover page. What do you see on this cover page? Who do you think are the Aran? Sorry. Okay, he's very excited when I do these calls. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I'm going to come back to this. Just can you take it? Yeah, sorry, just a minute. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, tell them. So what do you see on this storybook? What do you see on this? Is it what character do you see? Who is the author over here of the story? During reading, I want you to focus on this particular aspect where the setting has taken place, stuff like that. And then after reading, you will ask them certain questions. These have to be very, very clearly embedded and told to the children. Instructions have to be very, very clear. Even while doing the video, teachers pause at intervals, because just showing one video blankly, the child will not know what to focus in the video. And as somebody previously said, that there are animations in that, animations may also distract the child. So if you tell the child what to focus on whilst watching the video, your purpose will be served. Your whole idea will come across. So then when you're asking questions, that's very important, because after the video, you will ask some questions. There'll be a follow-up. So the child will know what to answer. I just hope that answers your question. How to help them start writing work during online teaching classes. Okay, so first I think you need to be there has to be a readiness with writing. We do not need to force children to start writing. Please remember that every child has a different time, a different pace of writing. So first I would suggest you to only ensure that they are writing in the air, in sand, in water, in dough, all of that. Once the letter formations are fine, are they ready to hold the pencil? Then you will start. Do not force the child. It will take a while. The parent will really have to help at this particular time. So pincer grips are very important. You need to take care of that before you push a child into writing. I would first suggest you to look at writing readiness for your children and then start writing. And they will write slowly. The red and blue lines that you have, you need to look into all of that, because I'm not sure what level your child is at this particular time. So first you'll have to do a little quick check about what is the writing readiness. Are the children ready to hold a pencil? Okay, because if we used to crayons earlier, so are they ready to hold a pencil? And then you start. Don't push them. I think, yeah, that's the last question. And I just hope it's been an informative session for all of you. Thank you for being a wonderful audience and listening to me for more than an hour and a half. Okay, and I just hope I've been able to help you guys.
Dear friends, I would like to thank all of you for this beautiful opportunity that you received during this hour or so. And I'm sure you all enjoyed this hour. I was myself involved in this during this whole session. I was watching it carefully, and there were some beautiful captions coming out appreciating our teacher. And I'm sure all of you have appreciated her class. She's been really wonderful and awesome expressions that she could put across to you. So thank you very much, ma'am, for your contribution. Your contribution is great. And I was told around 2,000 teachers are watching this program. So
it's an honor.
You are gone across the whole Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, and maybe beyond. So, and it will be kept on watching, because it will remain on YouTube, and your contribution will go a long way. And I would like to thank on behalf of the whole Western region.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
And I'm sure you will keep on continuing this program. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just before we go, I just wanted to share that one slide so that you all can get an idea of what a timetable or a schedule looks like. So if you just see, teachers, so we've written the groups. We had divided children into groups. So we've written the group. We've written the time for them, the subject that would be looking at, and the resources required. So this is something that you can also make. And if you see, write down. We've written what is the material required, how the children need to be dressed for a PE class. Yes, we've taken PE also online, some movement and fitness. But this is just a little example of a timetable that goes every week to the parents, giving them every subject that will be taught and what materials to keep ready. So this is just like a template, and that could be shared with you all later, but I just thought I'll show this to you since I spoke about it. So I just thought I'll show this to you. I just hope this helps. You can click a screenshot, or this is going to be there any which ways. But yes, thank you so much for being such a lovely audience and listening to me so patiently for 1.5 hours. To take some more things back from you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless
And happy
you.
to share any more ideas that are required. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Francis. Francis, sir, also thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I hope, thank you. Francis, can you come online? So, thank you.
I'm there. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you,
Thank
Francis and ma'am, for this beautiful opportunity for our teachers all over. And it is a great endeavor we have started now. And I'm sure in near future, many of us will benefit from this opportunity. Thank you, all of you. God bless
I think
you.
we thank all teachers, right? I mean, they have been so passionate to offer all your support. Thank you, Tasneem.
Thank
And
you so much.
teachers, we look forward for more sessions. Look forward for more sessions coming up in the next week. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.